Now, former ANC President Jacob Zuma will next Tuesday face the party's disciplinary hearing. I'm as confused as you are. Zuma faces two charges, one for denouncing the ANC leadership and another for pledging his support to the newly formed uMkhonto weSizwe party. Let's unpack the story further. Joining us is political analyst Sandile Swana. Sandile, it's great to talk to you as always. And hopefully you can provide some clarity, because didn't the Secretary General of the ANC, Fikile Mbalula, I think it was last week, during a briefing, say that the former president essentially expelled himself by leading and forming another party?
Thank you so much, Michelle, and good afternoon to your viewers. What I think we need to understand is that there are different processes that are taking place in the ANC and around Jacob Zuma. One is that in the ANC, there is a semi-independent or independent disciplinary committee, which has been processing the matter of Jacob Zuma, according to the spokesperson of the ANC, within certain timetables. So that process is independent of statements that are made politically or that are made on the campaign trail. So those are two separate processes.
I still don't understand, Sandile, because, I mean, a disciplinary process is surely for someone who is still in the party. Because what could possibly be the outcome or the sanction from this disciplinary process?
Okay, then let's take that on in the way you are presenting it. The Zuma is currently suspended as a member of the ANC. Zuma is actually a member of the ANC who is suspended. That is his constitutional status within the ANC. So in the ANC, you don't just walk out and overnight without any specific process become a non-member. So he did a misconduct, and for that misconduct, he must be subjected. He didn't resign. He just did a misconduct. So for that misconduct, he must be subjected to a disciplinary process that determines whether he can stay or be subjected to a corrective process or be expelled.
Yeah, so he's accused of contravening Rule 25 of the ANC Constitution. And that rule bars members from organizing or participating in the activities of another political party that's not in alliance with the ANC, just for the clarity that our viewers will need for this conversation. So it brings me to the second part of my question. What would be the sanction here, depending on the outcome of this disciplinary process?
When you look at the charges themselves, obviously anything, we cannot prejudge anything, but from a distance where we are, 9 out of 10 is going to be expelled. That process will lead to an expulsion. That is the most likely outcome of this.
So do you think this is it a box-ticking exercise, just crossing our T's and dotting our I's? Because as you say, you are a member of the ANC until certain processes are followed through with.
Yes, so the thing, Michelle, and the viewers that you have to bear in mind is that the lack of discipline in the ANC, including corruption, theft of state resources, all kinds of disorder and rebellion, has been going on for a long time, to the point that in the NGC of the ANC of November 2000, the year 2000, they made a resolution that they need to launch a new cadre, a new type of ANC member and a new type of ANC leader, because they realized that they've become a bunch of rogues themselves. And in 2005, Thabo Mbeki said that they no longer have, the average member of the ANC no longer has the DNA of the ANC. And around the same time, they launched a document which they call Through the Eye of the Needle. So for 24 years, they've been trying to introduce discipline in the ANC. And they've been struggling to get off the blocks because the very leaders, top leaders of the ANC, are implicated in so many scandals, so much misconduct. And former President Jacob Zuma, who's also a former president of the ANC, has got a well-recorded chronicle of how he has been involved in misconduct over a long period of time. And they themselves have been protecting him. The members of the ANC, the leaders, have been protecting him from the natural consequences of his irresponsible and reckless actions.
And you know, speaking of former President Thabo Mbeki, for example, Sandile, he is on the campaign trail, and he has been. He started in Soweto, I think it was last week. Today he's said to be in Swana. Kgalema Motlanthe is in Soweto today. Everything that you've said about, you know, the leaders of the ANC no longer having the DNA of the founding fathers of this liberation and then governing party. Thabo Mbeki now says, you know, first of all, he's taken the decision to go on the campaign trail, where previously he said he would not do so, to campaign under Jacob Zuma's ANC. He's now saying he wants to be part of the solution. He is saying he wants the electorate to trust that the ANC is the party that can deal with the challenges facing the country. He's promising to be in the room to be part of those solutions.
So first of all, in his own letter that he wrote, 17-page letter that he wrote to Paul Mashatile last year, Thabo Mbeki that is, in that letter, he highlighted that their own survey, the internal survey of the ANC amongst their own supporters and members, showed that they have about 55% trust. The members, their supporters, trust 55% of them do not trust the ANC. So they don't. So whether it's Thabo Mbeki, Ramaphosa, whoever is speaking to them, he must know that out of just the supporters of the ANC, 55% don't trust them, according to their own survey. And when you go to other surveys, which are in the NDP progress report, you'll probably find that the public trusts the politicians about 30%, somewhere in that range. So they can walk around Johannesburg and Swana and so on. What we do need to know is that people are not listening to that. And I just want to say this. When it comes to the ANC in Soweto and in Johannesburg, please bear in mind that in 2006, the ANC, of the votes in Johannesburg, they had about 61.85, about 62%. Today, they have 36%. They've lost about half the support. They've lost about half of the support as we speak today. So the writing is on the wall. Those are ghosts walking the streets of Swana and the streets of Soweto. These are ghosts. The writing is in the wall. They've lost Gauteng, and they're not going to win it.
Well, you're the one that brought the issue of percentages into this discussion. So I'm going to ask you for your national prediction. You've given us your prediction for Gauteng now. I'm just looking at the latest Ipsos poll. It's telling us that the EFF is likely to move out of that 10% range and move closer to 12%. MK, new kid on the block, won't do too badly, around 8.5%. They're going to shave quite a bit off the ANC nationally. What's your prediction, Sandile Swana?
I think the ANC is now, as we speak today, a 40% party. That's where they belong. That 8% you see in MK, by and large, is coming from the ANC. Bearing in mind that the ANC has been consistently declining since the Polokwane conference. So if you said, had MK not broken out, they would have been lying between 45 and 53%. MK is now out. That chunk that would have kept them, had any chance of being above 45%, is gone. They are now much closer to 40% than they were before. So it's a foregone conclusion. And when Thabo Mbeki says he's part of the solution, he is talking about partnering with the Broederbond, partnering with the Moonshot Pack, and trying to create a broad consensus on the basis that they are the largest minority party in South Africa.
So Sandile, if I can just ask you a final question. If today's, or rather next Tuesday's disciplinary hearing for the former President Jacob Zuma, if indeed it is an attempt by the ANC to resolve the Zuma-MK problem, as some analysts are saying, how possibly could that disciplinary hearing be that? An attempt at a resolution to the Zuma-MK problem for the ANC?
Okay, let's talk about the nature of that resolution. The nature of this resolution takes the form of a coalition, takes the form of a government of national unity, takes the form of a CODESA too. Now, you want to know which people are going to be on your side and supportive of the ANC cause, however that cause is going to be defined. So Zuma wants something from the ANC. He has got certain demands. So that those demands become possible if he partners with the ANC. And the ANC still wants a certain measure of power to renegotiate, because they admit now, and the voters are saying it, that the ANC has made a mess. So the ANC cannot make any progress without Zuma, the EFF, and maybe the moonshot pen. So that is where the game is at now. That is where the game is at. There's no other game in town.
And the game you're talking about is a numbers game. Sandile Swana, political analyst, let me thank you for your time this afternoon. Some interesting analysis there as we head on to elections. Just doing the maths in my mind. What is the 29th? 26 days until the 29th of May.